Okay, the Wereweaver case. What are some of the facts? Can you give me a key fact in this case?
You have to replace 65 employees.
Okay, we have to lay off 65 workers because we're replacing them with technology, right? Robotics and labor-saving better tools. And is that an unusual situation, do you think?
No.
Remember, we talk about the continually struggle to be more productive, right? And so to do that, we're going to have to free up the future of 65 employees. What are some of the other key facts? Any other key facts in this case? Yeah.
Well, we moved to a more rural area, so that means there's a smaller population, so cutting back employees will affect the economy of that small town.
It may affect the economy of that small town. Maybe 65 workers in a larger metropolitan area may not affect that community as much as it would in this one. Okay, what else about the environment? There's another key factor here.
The new place is non-union.
A non-union environment. That means that we retain more managerial discretion, right? If we were a union shop, then we have ceded some of those decision-making to our employees, right? So often in a union environment, or most often, you'd have to lay off your workers based on seniority. Those that entered the last ones to enter would be the first ones based on seniority to be laid off. When we're a non-union environment, we've got discretion then to base some of our layoffs based on job performance, right? So we may consider seniority, but we may also want to consider how well they performed on their job, right? If they had disciplinary action, or if they had attendance issues or tardiness issues. This is one of the important reasons that with employees, you want to make good notes and keep good documentation, right? Okay. So this is a really good thing. What are some of our alternatives then? Yeah.
I suggested that until the unmanned machines are in and working properly, they should keep at least 20, 25 workers on. Just in case things don't work, they can still stay productive, or even more, but at least keep at least half, our good amount of people working there.
Okay. Well, they may not have the skills necessary to operate the machines anyway, and the ones that we're going to retain, that hopefully that are effective, we can add more training to make sure they can use the equipment effectively. But it's a good idea. You need to actually do some planning to make sure you don't shut yourself short on employees. You don't want to go too far, but
the president said he wanted it done
soon. ASAP. So we want to become more productive in a hurry, right? And what kind of pressures do you think? Why were we under this much pressure? We're losing money, and we got competitors eating our lunch, right? So I think I've already talked to this group before I got on camera that another way to look at this, because it's one of the hardest things managers have to do, is to terminate workers or to lay off workers. And these workers aren't likely to be called back, are they, if we've replaced them with robotics? So there may be some attrition. We may be able to bring a few back, but for the majority of them, it's a permanent layoff. So it's not easy to do. They've got families, and we get close to our employees. So in fact, I had 6-8 years ago now, I had one young lady, a nice student, raised her hand and said, "Mr. Marshall, I could never terminate workers like this." And you know what I told her? She's absolutely in the wrong major. Because if that's part of business management, if you can't feel that you can, and that's a legitimate thing. If you don't feel that you can terminate workers, we've got other coursework. There's engineering, there's healthcare. There's about 120 majors at Owens. if you can't, and it's not for everybody. Managements may not be for everybody. So part of it's not easy. It's often I've had to do it. I've had to terminate workers, and sometimes I think I felt worse than the person that I've terminated. So it's not an easy thing for anybody. But the best way to frame this in this case is that I'm not laying off 65 workers. I'm actually saving 130 workers. Because what's going to happen if we didn't automate our facility and become more efficient?
Close the doors.
The company would go bankrupt and everyone loses their job. So the way you want to frame this is that I'm actually saving 130 jobs. Well, that may help you sleep, right, at night. You say, you know what, I did, became more productive, our company, and we were able to keep our doors open and retain our workers. What are we going to do with our terminated workers? Anybody got any ideas on how we're going to handle that? Is there anything we're going to do?
Do any kind of severance pay or something to go back to school?
Excellent ideas, right? When we talk about social responsibility, these are employees and they did nothing wrong, or at least the most of them that we're laying off, right? We're laying them off because we had to become more efficient. So if we could offer some job training, send them back to Owens Community College and help pay some of their tuition, we could do that, couldn't we? We could give them some severance, maybe a week pay for every year that they were with us. This is sometimes fair for a severance pay. Now, we're talking about is that could you justify some of this spending? Because this is going to cost money, right? Could you justify that spending to your shareholders to spend for severance pay or some job retraining or maybe some assistance in the community to help them find new jobs, resume preparation? All those things that would be nice to do cost money. Could you justify that to your shareholders, do you think?
Social responsibility.
Absolutely. Because what we want to do is retain the morale of the people that are there. If 65% or 65 workers of their colleagues had to be let go, and I would do this based on job performance, and I would consider job performance and seniority, but by being fair to our workers, by offering them some job retraining, by offering them some severance pay and some assistance in seeking new jobs, that costs money, but we're going to save significant money by automating our plant. Some of that savings can be used to be fair to our workers, and if the workers we retain know that we were fair, well, yeah, they had to lay people off, but boy, they treated them fairly. That will help the morale, won't it, in the people that were retained? I really think that would be, and the community themselves, it would be social. You're going to get bad press. Yeah, the local communities, the paper is going to say, well, they're laying off these workers. But part of the story could be, well, they're offering job retraining, they're offering severance, and will soften the blow a little bit. And I could definitely defend that to our shareholders. Cut.